There's never been a time in history as today where there's such an influx of external pressure, moving us in a way where it can determine the trajectory of your life. We find ourselves in career positions that give us massive pain. We find ourselves doing what others want with such joy that somewhere deep inside we envy and boil with anger. Or perhaps it is that we know what we could be doing but instead don't. This power is surrendered to the world and we just ride with the flow. As you can see, the common theme here is pain. And this pain will not get resolved unless you take the necessary action to resolve it. Otherwise, this pain will grow blacker and more dense as we age. You're at a crossroad right now. Choose. Do you seek to ignore what's signaling your attention needed? Or do you choose to release this tension within yourself? Mimetic desire, the silent puppeteer. In René Girard's mimetic theory, it is posited that humans do not know what they want. What humans do instead is look outside of themselves to determine something of value to desire. There's value in understanding why this is a natural mechanism of the human and how it can be self-destructive on a long-term horizon of one's life. From an evolutionary perspective, this has been a trait that has been passed down to the Homo sapiens from our early primates for survival and development. Some of the earliest known methods of mimicry include imitation, ranging from copying without understanding to complex emulation like achieving a certain outcome or goal. Mirroring. In our brains, we have cells called mirror neurons. What these cells do is fire when an activity is done and when we observe another doing the same activity. It offers the ability to learn, develop empathy, or mimic some action. Meme transference. The transmission of cultural values, ideas, emotions, and conscious or unconscious processes. You can see here that we're not so different from our early ancestors as we possess these traits and behaviors. We partake in them to learn faster, to adopt cultural norms and values, to belong to a group. However, our current circumstances and experience of life has taken a radical shift from the primary concerns being on basic necessities, food, water, shelter, etc., to needs that have more depth and complexity, self-esteem, meaning, achievement. Old problems begin fading away while at the same time new ones emerge. How this translates to our current inner problems is with the pressures coming outside of ourselves, from societal demands to the recent invention of social media. We're each born into an environment that expects something of us. For a family, it'd be to raise the child, offer your offsprings the best opportunities you can provide to thrive, and further propagate your lineage. For a larger context, like a country or specific geographical location, to follow some path that adds value to a society, organization, or group of people. It becomes tricky at this point because our species thrives on a collective that adds value to itself. For if everyone set out to follow their heart's desire and not care for greater responsibilities, there would be little to no growth in the economy, technology, science, or a branch of knowledge. Therefore, the unfortunate truth that is found is that one must in some way participate in the social matrix to be able to have their basic survival and security needs covered. Better yet, if one is able to become of high value, create or produce, or have learned specialized domain knowledge, your value as a human becomes complementary to the web of life, enabling you to thrive. Otherwise, it becomes nearly impossible to not only not be able to sustain your own survival, but also pursue more intriguing human needs latent within yourself. The antithesis of mimetic desire would then be a reversal of what we're inclined to do, that is, the pursuit and realization of a deep internal motivation. While the long-term benefits of such a path are monumental, the reality is that a small group of humans ever follow it. Yes, it is going to be difficult, both psychologically and with the external circumstances we find ourselves in. However, know this, it's a decision you could make. Today, let us quickly cover a concept known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's theory posits that human needs ascend from the most basic to that which is more self-fulfilling. Each rung of the pyramid is associated with thus physiological, water, food, shelter, safety, finances, employment, property, health, security, love, belonging, relationships, intimacy, family, esteem, status, recognition, achievement, self-esteem, self-actualization, creativity, morality, authenticity, transcendence, truth, spirit, consciousness, enlightenment. Though in this video we'll be covering self-actualization, we must acknowledge a higher domain of inner drive exists, transcendence. A discussion on the topic will be saved for a future one, as that dives deeper into the human condition and the nature of existence. As for self-actualization, this human need is all about being able to fulfill one's potential, capacities, and self-fulfillment. More, it'd be being able to go within oneself and align your inner nature with the external world. Self-actualization is a symmetry between the values, talents, skills, and highest ideals of oneself on the inside that may flower on the outside in perfect alignment. The focus on where you derive your growth and pursue desires is stemmed from what has been created intrinsically. Mimetic desire, on the other hand, takes its focus on the external world. It finds something to mimic, since it does not have an awareness of its true self, and proceeds to mold itself of which it may not align internally with. There's an incongruence. It is possible there can be a general life satisfaction for some time if one never has done some deep inner work and only focuses on looking outward for a roadmap. Though this is a short-term perspective and of odds is likely to go bust. In middle age, or if signs begin to leak early, you may find yourself in a career, role, or endeavor which may begin to spark pain. Slowly and subtly, the job or skill you've dedicated yourself to begins no longer exciting you as it first did. The accolades, the prestige, the skill, the domain, the relationships formed around, at some point can start losing your interest and motivation, where finally the pain begins compounding within your being. At first it shows sign through small indications or nudges, we can say. But there comes a moment where you may not understand where a discomfort arises from, and now you're left with figuring out how to cope, escape, or solve it. This is not what we want, as a genuine pursuit of self-actualization proves to be the opposite. We see figures across history and in our current world today who are so strangely connected to what they do, it almost seems envious to not be more like them. This is so because we're all created in a unique way, where there never will be another person like us. The DNA configurations, natural inclinations, interests, strengths, and personality are all a unique blend to never exist again. Your matching of these internal traits, and that which is developed with the outwardly, is what sets you on this path. On the other side, what we find is a peace, a healthy mood, and contentment. This is not to say that life will not be hard. Of course, you'll still have to navigate challenging circumstances, set in motion on a path to discovery and actualization. The process would only be more enjoyable and carry you through with more vigor than it would otherwise. Your obstacle is yourself. There cannot be blame or pointing fingers on anything external. They are just there, neutral, a simple happening. We may choose to extract ideas, frameworks, or projections of what could be if we follow a certain path, though don't get blindsided by what you only see on the outside. Most people carry much pain which unconsciously shows signs of itself. It's important to develop a high sense of awareness and inward knowingness of what makes you up as an individual. Proceed to take action on creating a person and life that you'd be proud of, both internally and externally. This is where peace is found. This is what a taste of self-actualization looks like. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Gospel of Thomas.